There comes a moment, a divine stirring, when life as you know it is about to shift, not just a minor change, not a passing breeze, but a great and irreversible transformation. And if you listen closely, if you steel the mind and open the heart, you will see the signs before it happens. These signs are not coincidences, nor are they accidents of fate. They are the whispers of God, the unseen hand rearranging your world, preparing you for what is to come. The first great sign is an unsettling, a divine discontent that which once brought you joy may now feel empty. You may sense a restlessness, as if the walls of your life are closing in, no longer containing the vastness of whom you are meant to be. This is not a time to despair. It is a time to rejoice. But when the soul outgrows its current reality, God is calling it into a new world. 2001, what seems like discomfort is the gentle breaking of chains. The second sign appears as a crumbling, the dissolution of what once seemed stable. Perhaps relationships shift, opportunities fade, familiar paths become impassable, the very ground beneath your feet may tremble, and you may wonder if you are losing everything. But I tell you, nothing real is ever lost. What is leaving is only that which no longer serves the life God is bringing forth in you. Do not resist. Do not grasp at what is falling away. Trust for a greater design is unfolding, one that you could not yet see with the eyes of the past. And then there is the third and most powerful sign, the sudden influx of vision, desire, and inner knowing when God is about to change your life forever. A new dream begins to stir within you. It arrives as an unshakable feeling, a vision that will not leave you. You see yourself somewhere you have never been. You feel drawn towards something without logical explanation. It may seem beyond your reach, but I tell you, if it were not meant for you, you would not see it. Desire is the language of the divine, the promise of what is already yours if you dare to claim it. And so if you have felt this restlessness, if your world has been shaken, if a vision is pulling at your soul, do not shrink back in fear. Lift your head, for God is not taking something from you. He's preparing you for something far greater. Move forward in faith, knowing that the door is already open and the path is already made. The greatest transformations come not through force, but through surrender, trust, believe, and step into the life that is waiting for you. When God moves in your life, He does not whisper politely at your door, hoping you'll notice. No. He shakes the very foundations of your being, calls forth the soul that has long slumbered, and demands that you rise into your true destiny. This is why the signs are unmistakable. They are not quiet suggestions. They are divine disruptions preparing you for what is already yours. And yet so many, when faced with these signs, resist. They see discomfort and call it misfortune. They see loss and call it punishment. They feel the pull of a new vision, but label it impossible. But hear me. God never disturbs a life unless He intends to transform it. What you call uncertainty is simply the undoing of a lesser version of yourself, making way for the greater. That divine discontent, knowing at you it is the voice of the Creator within, refusing to let you settle where you do not belong. You may try to ignore it, distract yourself, drown it out with the noise of the world. But it will not leave. It will grow louder, and the longer you resist, the more life will press upon you until you have no choice but to answer the call. And then, when the familiar begins to crumble, when relationships shift, when doors close, when the things you once leaned on begin to fall away, you may feel as though you are being abandoned. But you are not being abandoned. You are being redirected. When God is about to change your life, He removes every crutch, every false foundation, so that you stand fully in His plan. If you are clinging to what is leaving, let go. What is coming is greater, and all the final sign, that unshakable vision, that desire that will not leave you alone. It appears not as a random wish, but as a knowing, deep, undeniable, and persistent. It will not release you because it is not coming from you. It is coming through you. It is the future calling. It is your higher self remembering who you are. Do not ask if it is possible. It is already done in the mind of God. Your only task is to step forward in faith. So I ask you now, will you heed the signs or will you resist them? Will you shrink back in fear or will you stand boldly and say, I am ready? Because the truth is, this life, as you know, it is already done. What is left is your choice. Will you embrace what is coming? Will you allow yourself to become what you were always meant to be? This is your moment. Your destiny is unfolding, and all of heaven is waiting for you to take the first step. When God is about to change your life forever, He does not ask for your permission. He commands your awakening, and this awakening is not gentle. It is not convenient. It does not arrive wrapped in comfort. No, it shakes you to your core. It dismantles the illusions you have built. It breaks you open not to destroy you, but to reveal you. You may wonder why everything feels uncertain, why the old ways no longer satisfy, why the things that once fit now feel foreign. It is because you are no longer who you were. You are no longer meant for the life you once lived. Your spirit has already moved ahead, and now the rest of you must follow. You see, transformation is not about waiting for things to change around you. It is about becoming the one who commands the change. The moment you realize this, truly realize it, your entire world shifts, because God does not bring new life to those who insist on clinging to the old. He brings it to those who are willing to step into the unknown. But faith is their foundation. If your life is shaking, if doors are closing, if your heart is stirring, this is your confirmation. The very thing you are afraid to lose is the thing that is keeping you from what is greater. Do not beg for the past to return. It will not instead stand in the awareness that what is coming is so much greater that you will one day thank God for everything that is leading now. But hear me, you must act not tomorrow, not when it is comfortable, not when it is easy. Now, the moment of hesitation is the moment of delay, and heaven does not wait for those who refuse to move. There is a version of you stronger, freer, wiser, waiting on the other side of your fear. There is life richer, fuller beyond imagination, waiting for your arrival. There is a destiny-written divine ink that can only be lived by the one who dares to step forward. So the question is not whether God is changing your life. The question is whether you will surrender to it, whether you will embrace the signs, whether you will rise into what is already yours. For the kingdom of heaven is within you. The power to transform your life is not outside of you. It is within you. You were never meant to beg for blessings. You were meant to call them forth. You were never meant to wait for a miracle. You are the miracle. So arise, step forward, and watch as the heavens align in your favor, for the time is now, and the change is already here. There comes a time when you must decide, will you remain as you have always been, or will you become what you will always meant to be? This is that time. You have seen the signs, you have felt the stirring. Deep within that something is shifting. This is no accident. This is not a mere season. This is a divine appointment. You did not come into this life to live in hesitation. You did not come here to exist in cycles of doubt and delay. You came here to create, to transform, to become a living expression of the divine. And now at this very moment, God is calling you to step forward. Feel it. The old life is crumbling, not as a loss, but as a release. What is breaking apart is only that which cannot come with you. And if it cannot come with you, it was never yours to keep. You are being stripped of limitation, cleansed of illusion, prepared for a life so abundant, so free, so extraordinary. Cannot yet fully comprehend it, but here is the truth. You do not need to understand it. You only need to say yes. Yes to the calling. Yes to the discomfort of growth. Yes to the unknown, where miracles are born. Because on the other side of that, yes, everything shifts. The delays end. The doors open. The vision that once seemed distant suddenly begins to manifest before your eyes. But you must believe before you see. You must trust before it arrives. This is the test not of suffering, but of faith. Because God does not withhold. God does not tease. What is yours has already been given. The only thing that determines when it arrives is when you decide to claim it. So claim it. Do not wait for permission. Do not wait for a sign greater than the one you have already received. This moment is the sign. This moment is the confirmation. This moment is heaven's whisper, saying, move now, for everything you desire is waiting for you. So rise. Stand in your power. Step into the life that has been calling you, for you are not just on the brink of change. You are the change. And once you step forward, you will never look back. This is your time. The shift is here, and the life you were born was waiting. You were never meant for smallness. You were never meant to live in lack and fear. In hesitation, you were born to create, to expand, to rise, and everything that has happened up to this point, every struggle, every delay, every moment of uncertainty, has not been working against you. It has been preparing you, because God does not call the unprepared. He does not awaken those who are not ready. If you have felt the shift, if you have seen the signs, if you have been drawn into this very moment, it is because you are ready to release, ready to step forward, ready to receive. And yet, so many stand at the edge of their destiny and hesitate. They let their old fears speak louder than their new vision. They let their past define their future. They ask, what if I fail, when they should be asking, what if I succeed beyond my wildest imagination? And so I tell you now, there is no more waiting. The hesitation ends here because there is a force moving within you, a power greater than anything you have ever known. And the moment you surrender to it, the moment you stop fighting the change that is calling you, everything will unfold with divine precision. But surrender is not passive. It is not sitting back hoping for a miracle. It is stepping forward with faith so unshakable that the very universe must bow in response. It is walking as if the promise is already fulfilled. It is speaking as if the miracle has already arrived. Because in truth it has. There is no time left for doubt. No room left for fear. You have been called. The transformation has begun, and there is no going back. So I ask you, will you rise? Will you step into the life that has been waiting for you? Will you trust that every closed door was a blessing, that every loss was a redirection, but every delay was divine timing moving on your behalf, because the life that is coming, the life that is already yours, is beyond anything you have imagined. And the only thing standing between you and it is the decision to claim it. So claim it. Now step into it. Now walk boldly, speak boldly, believe boldly, for the heavens have already moved. The path has already been cleared, and your new life has already begun. This is your moment. This is your awakening. And from this day forward, nothing will ever be the same. You have been waiting, watching, wondering when the shift will happen. You have asked for signs, for confirmation, for proof that this transformation is real. And now here it is. Not in the form of a distant promise, not in the form of a future hope, but now right here. This very moment is the threshold between the life you have known and the life that is calling you. What you feel stirring inside you is not just a passing thought. It is not a fleeting desire. It is the voice of divine within you, the blueprint of your highest self, the memory of who you are always meant to be, and it will not be silent. It will not fade away. It will not stop calling you forward, but here is where many falter. They see the shift. They feel the signs, but they hesitate. They cling to the familiar even as it crumbles beneath them. They mistake the breaking apart for destruction, when in truth it is the birth of something greater. Do you not see the old is not being taken from you? It is being removed for you. The things that no longer serve you, the places you have outgrown, the limitations that have held you back, they are being cleared, not as punishment, not as loss, but as preparation, because the life that is waiting for you requires you to be free, free from doubt, free from fear, free from the version of yourself that was never meant to last. And so the final question remains. Will you step forward? Not tomorrow, not when it's convenient, not when every detail makes sense now, because destiny does not wait for those who hesitate. The power is in this moment, in the decision you make. Now, you may not see the whole path, but that is not your concern. Your only task is to take the first step in faith, to trust that if you move, the way will be revealed, to believe so deeply, so completely that heaven itself bends to the force of your certainty. And when you do, you will see what was always true. You were never stuck. You were never trapped. The doors were never locked. It was only your own hesitation that kept you in place. But now the hesitation is gone. The waiting is over. The shift has already begun. So step forward, speak boldly, move with unwavering faith, for God has not just called you. He has chosen you in everything you desire, everything you have prayed for, everything you have dreamed in the quiet of your soul. It is already done. This is your new beginning. The time is now, and from this moment on, nothing will ever be the same again. For too long you have danced on the edge of your destiny, one foot in the past, one foot in the future, hesitant to leap into the unknown. But hear me now. God does not work in hesitation. He does not move through the timid. He does not part seas for those who refuse to step into the war. Order. If you have felt the shaking, if you have seen the signs, if you have known in the deepest part of your soul that change is upon you, then this is not a time to shrink back. This is a time to step boldly forward, to claim the life that has been calling you, to declare with unwavering certainty, I am ready. But readiness is not just a feeling, it is action. It is movement. It is the refusal to stay in a life that no longer fits. It is the courage to let go of what is safe, of what is familiar, of what is known, so that you can step into something greater. And yes, it will feel uncomfortable. Growth always does. The caterpillar does not transform into the butterfly without first dissolving into nothingness. The seed does not break open without the pressure of the soil. The old must die so the new can be born, and that is what is happening to you. The things that are falling apart are not happening to you. They are happening for you. The people who are leaving. The doors that are closing, the structures that are collapsing. It is all divine intervention, because the life God has prepared for you cannot be built on weak foundations. So do not mourn what is leading. Do not cling to what is being removed. Instead, rejoice, because what is coming is greater. What is coming is the manifestation of the vision that has been growing inside you. What is coming is the answer to the prayers you once whispered in the darkness. But here is the truth. You must move before you see it. You must believe before it is tangible. This is the test. This is the moment where faith is not just a word, but a force, a power, an unshakable certainty that drives you forward. God has already set the stage. The opportunities have already been aligned. The miracles have already been released. The only thing left is you. Will you step into it? Will you stop waiting? Will you walk as if the promise is already fulfilled? Because that is the key, moving as if it is already done, not begging, not hoping, not wondering, but knowing that heaven has already moved on your behalf, knowing that the doors are already open, knowing that the only thing left to do is walk through them, to walk, move, claim the life that is yours. For this is not just a shift. This is not just a season. This is your awakening. This is the moment when everything changes. And from this day forward, you will never be the same again. And so we arrive at the final moment, the point where decision meets destiny, where faith must rise above fear, where you stand face to face with the undeniable truth. You were never meant to remain where you are. The signs have been given. The stirring within you is not random. It is the divine call to something greater. The old life, the former version of you, is already fading. The only question that remains is, will you step forward? Because there comes a time when hesitation is no longer an option, a time when the waiting must end, a time when you must stop asking for another sign and start moving in faith. That time is now. This is not the end of something. It is the beginning of a life where you no longer chase after blessings, but walk in the certainty that they are already yours. A life where you no longer wait for opportunities, but create them. A life where you no longer shrink back, but step boldly into your divine calling. And so take a deep breath and feel it. This is the moment of transformation. The door has been opened. The path has been cleared, and heaven is waiting for you to take the first step. Go now, not with fear, but with power, not with doubt, but with certainty, not as who you were, but as who you were always meant to be, for God has already moved. The shift has already begun. And from this moment forward, nothing will ever be the same again. Imagine for a moment that your entire life, everything you have ever known, is but a dream within the vast imagination of God. You believe you are bound by circumstances, confined by time, limited by the things you see. But what if I told you that you are far greater than you think? What if the very struggles you face are not obstacles, but whispers nudging you towards something beyond comprehension? There is a force moving through all things, shaping destinies, breaking chains, lifting veils. It is not the hand of chance or the cold laws of nature, but the divine orchestration of a power so immense, so precise, that if you could see its full scope, it would leave you breathless. You may think you are waiting on miracles, but the truth is miracles are waiting on you. You stand at the edge of a revelation, one that will shatter the illusion of limitation and awaken you to a reality far greater than the one you now know. This is not a message of hope alone. It is a call to remembrance, a call to awaken to the truth of who you are and the boundless plan set in motion for you before time began. You've been told that life is a series of random events, that you must struggle and strive, that destiny is out of your hands. But what if I told you that everything in your life, every joy, every trial, every unexpected twist, is part of a plan so vast, so intricate, that your mind could scarcely contain it? You are never meant to wander aimlessly, to live in fear, to question your worth. The world may have convinced you that you are small, but God's plan is not concerned with how things appear. It is not limited by what you see, nor by what others believe about you. It is infinite, unshakable, a divine force moving beneath the surface of all things. And whether you recognize it or not, it is working for you. The road ahead may seem uncertain, the circumstances before you may appear impossible. But do not be deceived by appearances. Do not let what you see with your natural eyes determine what you believe is possible. The unseen world is more real than the one you touch, and it is from that unseen world that all things are born. There are moments in life when everything seems to fall apart. The doors that once stood open slam shut. The path you thought would lead you to joy turns to dust beneath your feet. And in that moment, when all seems lost, you may wonder, where is God in this? Has He abandoned me? Has He forgotten the promises spoken over my life? But I tell you this, what do you see as an ending is merely the shifting of the heavens, the rearranging of time itself to make way for something greater. Then you are there to imagine. There is no mistake, no failure, no setback that can hinder what has already been ordained for you. What seems like a delay is not a delay at all. It is a preparation. It is the unfolding of divine intention in a way that your limited mind cannot yet perceive. What you call waiting is in truth a sacred becoming, a transformation that will reveal in due time that everything was always happening for you, never against you. You have been placed in this world not to be a spectator, not to be a victim of chance, but to awaken to the truth that all things are possible. The moment you dare to believe, the moment you cast aside doubt and step into the knowing that you are an instrument of something far greater, everything begins. Doors open, paths clear. People are drawn into your life as if by magic, but this is not magic. It is law. It is the law of faith, the law of creation, the law that governs all things. Look back on your life. Reflect on the moments when you thought you had reached the end, only to find that something greater was waiting just beyond the horizon. You have been guided all along, even when you did not see it, even when you doubted. There was never a moment when you were alone, never a time when divine hands were not shaping your destiny. Do you feel the pull in your spirit, that gentle, urging, that quiet voice whispering that something more is coming? That is the call to step into the fullness of your purpose, to stop settling for the life the world tells you is possible, and to step into the life that has already been written for you. But know this, God's plan is not small. It is not ordinary. It does not conform to human expectation. It does not fit neatly within the limitations of logic. It is bigger than you think, bigger than you have imagined, bigger than anything you have yet dared to dream. And because it is so big, the road to it may not look the way you expected. There will be moments when everything seems to fall away, when the familiar is stripped from your hands. When you are left standing in the unknown, do not fear these moments. They are not punishment. They are not rejection. They are refinements. They are preparation when everything is being taken away. It is because you are being positioned for something greater. When one door closes, it is because 1,000 others are being prepared to open. You were never meant for an ordinary existence. You were never meant to live beneath your potential, to shrink in the face of adversity, to allow the voices of doubt to dictate your path. The power that formed the stars, that breathed galaxies into existence, resides within you. You are not separate from it. You are not apart from it. You are an expression of it. If only you could see yourself as you truly are, if only you could see the greatness that has been woven into your being, you would never again doubt. You would never again settle. You would walk forward with the certainty that nothing can stand in your way, that every challenge is merely a step toward the greater unfolding of your destiny. Yeah, God's plan for you is not small because you were never meant to live a small life. You were meant to expand, to rise, to step into places you never thought possible. But you must let go of the old. You must release the fear, the doubt, the belief that you are unworthy or incapable. Those are illusions, shadows cast by the mind. The truth is far greater. And so the time has come. The moment is now. No more waiting. No more hesitating. No more wondering if you are ready. You are ready. You always have been. Step forward. Believe and watch as the impossible becomes your reality. You have been conditioned to believe in limitations, to accept a reality bound by the laws of the natural world. But what if I told you that the laws of the unseen are far greater, far more powerful, and that they are already working in your favor? What if I told you that the very thing you call reality is nothing more than a reflection of the deeper, unseen world that exists within? Every thought you entertain, every belief you hold, every vision you dare to see within your mind, it is all creating, shaping, molding the world around you. You are not here to react to life. You are here to command it. You are not here to be at the mercy of circumstance. You are here to shape circumstance according to the divine blueprint already written for you. But herein lies the challenge. The mind has been trained to see obstacles instead of opportunities. Fear instead of faith, impossibilities instead of promises. The moment something does not go as planned, doubt creeps in. The moment a door closes, fear takes over. But listen to me now. There is no such thing as failure in the divine plan. There is no such thing as a setback in the eyes of the infinite. What you see as a delay is in reality a redirection. What you see as loss is often a divine exchange. Removing what no longer serves you to make way for what is meant for you. And yet so often, instead of trusting, you resist. Instead of believing, you retreat. But if only you knew, if only you could glimpse what is waiting on the other side of your surrender, you would never again doubt. God's plan is far bigger than you think, and because it is so big, it may not unfold the way you expect it. You may have thought the path would be straight, but instead it twists and turns, leading you through unfamiliar territory. You may have thought the journey would be easy, but instead you find yourself walking through valleys of uncertainty. Yet even in those valleys, the hand of the divine is guiding you, shaping you. There's nothing wasted in the divine. Every moment of waiting, every season of struggle, every unanswered question, it all serves a purpose. You may not see it now, but in time you will look back and realize that even the detours were part of the plan. Even the heartbreaks, the disappointments, the closed doors, they were necessary, for they led you exactly where you needed to be. Look at the seed that is buried in the ground. To the untrained eye, it appears lifeless, as though nothing is happening. But beneath the soil, something extraordinary is taking place. Roots are forming, strength is being built, transformation is unfolding. And then in the appointed time, what was hidden breaks through the surface. It was never dead. It was becoming. And so it is with you. You are not forgotten. You are not overlooked. You are not behind. You are becoming. You are being shaped, being strengthened, being positioned for something greater than you have yet to comprehend. Do not mistake the hidden season for the end of the story. Do not mistake the waiting for abandonment. What you call stillness is, in truth, the greatest movement of all, for it is in the unseen, in the quiet, in the moments when nothing seems to be happening, that the most profound transformations take place. There will come a moment when everything changes, when the thing you have been waiting for suddenly appears, when the doors that were once closed are thrown open, when the weight you have carried is lifted, and in that moment you will understand. You will see why every delay, every trial, every moment of uncertainty was necessary. But hear me now. You do not have to wait for that moment to believe. You do not have to see it to know it is already done. The moment you decide to trust, to believe without wavering, to walk forward as though the promise is already being fulfilled. That is the moment the shift begins. That is the moment heaven moves on your behalf. Faith is not about seeing and then believing. Faith is believing so completely that the unseen world has no choice but to manifest in the visible. When you walk in this knowing, when you refuse to be moved by what your eyes see and instead hold firm to what you know within, you become unstoppable. The world may say no, but the divine plan says yes. Circumstances may say impossible, but the eternal truth says it is already done. Do not limit God's plan by the limitations of your own mind. You may think you know how things should unfold, but your vision is small compared to the vastness of divine intention. Let go of your attachment to how it should happen and trust that it is happening in the way that is best for you. What is coming will shock you, not because it is impossible, because it will be far greater, far more beautiful, far more extraordinary than you could imagine. The time for doubt is over. The time for hesitation has passed. Now is the moment to step fully into the truth of who you are, to align yourself with the divine plan, to stand firm in the knowing that what is meant for you is already making its way into your life. No force in this world can stop it. No circumstance can alter it. No fear can delay it. That is a shift taking place. You feel it. You sense it. You know that something is moving. Something is changing. Something is unfolding. That is the call. That is the invitation to step beyond what is familiar, to release the old and embrace the new, to trust that the hands that created the universe are holding your life in perfect order. Do not look back. Do not question the path that brought you here. Everything you have walked through, every battle you have fought, every tear you have cried, it has all led to this moment, the moment when you finally understand that you were never waiting on God. God has been waiting on you, waiting for you to believe, waiting for you to step forward, waiting for you to claim what has always been yours. And so I ask you now, will you believe before you see? When you trust before the doors open, Will you walk forward in faith knowing that what is coming will not only meet your expectations, but exceed them beyond anything you could have ever imagined? What is coming will shock you, not because it is impossible, but because it is inevitable. It has always been written. It has always been yours. The only question that remains is this: will you finally do it? You do not yet realize the magnitude of what has been set in motion for you. You stand at the edge of something so vast, so extraordinary that if you could glimpse even a fraction of it, every doubt, every fear, every hesitation would vanish in an instant. But the plan is not meant to be seen all at once. It is revealed in steps and whispers, in moments of divine alignment. And it is in those moments that you must decide. Will you trust the process even when you do not understand it? Too many live their lives waiting for proof before they believe they want the evidence, before they take the first step. But this is not how the divine operates. What is written for you is not bound by the logic of this world. It is not subject to human reasoning, nor is it limited by time. What has been promised exists already. It is simply waiting for you to align with it. You ask, when will it happen? When will I see it? But that is not the question. The real question is, do you believe it is already done? Because the moment you truly believe the moment, you know beyond all doubt that what is meant for you cannot be taken from you. That is the moment everything shifts. You've been walking through doors you thought were leading you somewhere, only to find them closing in your face. You've been holding on to things that were never meant for you. Relationships, jobs, opportunities, identities that no longer fit who you are becoming. And you have asked, why is this happening? But what you see as rejection is in truth divine protection. What you see as loss is preparation for something far greater. You were never meant to remain in places that no longer serve you. You were never meant to cling to the familiar out of fear of the unknown. The life you desire, the future that is waiting for you, requires you to let go of everything that is keeping you tied to an old version of yourself. You cannot step into what is coming while holding on to what is meant to be left behind. But here is the truth. God does not take things from you without the intention of giving you something greater. When something is removed, it is only to make space for something far beyond your understanding. When a door closes, it is only because a better one is about to open. If you could see what is being prepared for you, you would never again question why something had to leave. You would never again resist the shifts that are taking place in your life. You have prayed for change. You have asked for more. You have sought a greater purpose. And now the very things you have prayed for are being set into motion. But the manifestation of these prayers does not always come in the way you expect. Sometimes, before things can come together, they must first fall apart. Sometimes before you can step into the promise, you must first be stripped of everything that is not aligned with. With it, do not fight the transformation that is happening. Do not resist the process. It may not look the way you thought it would, but trust that it is leading you exactly where you are meant to be. There are moments in life when you must walk by faith alone, when you must move forward, even when the path is unclear. This is one of those moments. The plan is unfolding even now. The pieces are coming together, even now. You may not see it. You may not feel it, but that does not mean it is not happening. Just as the seed grows beneath the soil before it ever breaks the surface, so too is your destiny unfolding in the unseen before. It manifests in the visible. There will come a time when you look back on this season and realize that everything, every delay, every detour, every moment of uncertainty was necessary, that every struggle was shaping you. Every closed door was redirecting you. Every unanswered was making room for something far greater than you had envisioned. You will understand why certain things had to end, why certain people had to leave, why certain opportunities had to pass you by. But until that time comes, you must hold on to the truth that what is coming is far greater than anything you are leaving behind. The mind will try to convince you that you are losing, but in truth you are being positioned for something that will leave you in awe. The enemy of progress is doubt, and doubt arises when you focus on what is happening instead of what has already been. Written, you do not need to know the how. You do not need to know the when. You only need to know that it is already done. The universe is not waiting on circumstances to align. It is waiting on you to believe. It is waiting on you to stop questioning, to stop hesitating, to stop looking at what is in front of you and start trusting what has already been declared over your life. When you step into this truth, when you move in faith instead of fear, you become unstoppable. The world cannot shake you. Circumstances cannot deter you. You will walk through every storm with the confidence that nothing can stand in the way of what has been divinely ordained for you. So let go of the need to control, release the need to understand every detail. Stop trying to force doors open that are meant to remain closed. Your only task is to trust, to believe, to align your thoughts and actions with the truth that what is coming will not just meet your expectations, but exceed them in ways you never imagined. There is a divine order to all things. What is meant for you cannot be rushed, nor can it be delayed. It will arrive at the perfect time in the perfect way, and when it does, you will stand in awe. Now, every moment, every challenge, every disappointment, every tear was necessary to bring you to the place you were always meant to be. But you do not need to wait until then to feel the joy, the peace, the certainty. You can step into it now. You can claim it. Now you can walk forward now knowing that the path is already laid before you. The journey may not look the way you thought it would, but the destination is certain, the promise is real. The plan is unfolding. What is coming will shock you, not because it is impossible, but because it is inevitable. It has already been written. It has already been prepared. The only thing that remains is for you to step forward and receive it. There is a shift happening even now, a divine movement rearranging things on your behalf. You may not see it yet. You may not feel it yet. But it is happening just as the ocean tides are moved by forces unseen. So too is your life being guided by a hand far greater than your own. And what is coming will not just surprise you, it will redefine everything you thought was possible. You have been walking through seasons of wading through moments where nothing seemed to make sense. You have questioned. You have wondered. You have asked, why is this happening? But if you knew the answer, if you could see the full picture, you would understand that nothing was wasted, nothing was in vain. Every moment has been building towards something greater, something far beyond your understanding. The discomfort you feel is not a sign of abandonment. It is a sign of transformation. The tension, the uncertainty, the moments when you feel stretched beyond your limit, these are not punishments, they are preparations. Just as a caterpillar must be enclosed in darkness before it emerges with wings, so too must you go through moments of uncertainty before stepping into the fullness of your destiny. You were not created for mediocrity. You were not meant to live a small life confined by fear and hesitation. You were meant for greatness, but for expansion, for impact. But to step into that, you must first release everything that is not in alignment with where you are going. The things, the people, the habits, the thoughts that once served you may no longer fit the person you are becoming. Let them go. Do not mourn what is leading. Do not cling to what was the past served its purpose. It was a chapter, not the whole story. And what is coming will not only replace what was lost, but it will surpass it in ways you never expected. The plan for your life is not fragile. It is not dependent on perfect conditions. It is not at the mercy of other people's opinions or actions. No one can take from you what has been divinely appointed to you. No mistake you have made can cancel what has already been written. No delay, no detour, no failure can alter what is destined to unfold. None. You may think you have lost time. You may feel that you have wasted years. But listen to me. Nothing is lost in the hands of the divine. Time bends in the presence of purpose. What you thought would take years will happen in moments. What seemed impossible will come with ease. And when it does, you will wonder why you ever doubted in the first place. But before that moment comes, you must believe without seeing. You must trust without proof. That is the test. That is the moment where faith is required. It is easy to believe once the doors open, once the opportunities arrive, once everything is laid before you. But the real power, the real transformation happens when you believe while you are still in the dark. When you trust before there is evidence. When you walk forward, even when the path is not yet visible. The greatest moments in life do not come with warnings. They do not announce themselves. They arrive suddenly, like a whisper in the wind, like a shift in the atmosphere. And in that moment, this is what I was waiting for. This is what I was being prepared for. But you do not have to wait until that moment to live with the confidence that it is already done. You can walk in that assurance now. You can move as though it has already happened, because in the divine realm it already has. The only thing that remains is for you to align yourself with it, to step into the frequency of faith so that what is written in the unseen can manifest in the seen. Do not allow the illusions of this world to convince you that you are alone. Do not let the temporary struggles convince you that you are forsaken. You are being guided, led, and if you could see from a higher perspective, if you could glimpse the fullness of what is unfolding, you would never again doubt. There is more for you, more than what you have settled for, more than what you have imagined, more than what the world has told you is possible. And the moment you decide to believe in the unseen more than the moment you trust in what is already yours, the floodgates will open. But you must be ready. You must be willing to release everything that is no longer serving your highest good. You must be prepared to step into the unknown, with the confidence that what is waiting for you is greater than anything you are leaving behind. This is not a time for hesitation. This is not a time to look back. This is a time to step forward with unwavering faith, knowing that what is coming is not just what you asked for. It is more. It is greater. It is beyond, and when it arrives, you will look back on this moment and realize that it was always meant to be. You were never lost. You were never forgotten. Every step, even the ones that felt like detours, even the ones that felt like failures, were leading you here. And now the time has come. The shift is happening, the doors are opening, and nothing can stop what is already in motion. You may not understand the magnitude of what is happening in your life right now. You may not see how every event, every shift, every closed door, and every unexpected detour is leading you exactly where you need to be. But trust this. Nothing is out of alignment. Nothing is accidental. Nothing is happening outside the divine plan that has already been. You may be questioning, wondering if things are ever going to change, if the path before you will ever become clear. But what if I told you that the clarity you seek is already within you? What if I told you that the very power you think you are waiting has been waiting on you? There is nothing outside of you that you need. You already possess everything necessary to step into the life you were destined to live. Too often, we seek confirmation from the world. We wait for signs, for proof, for validation that we are on the right path. But faith does not wait for evidence. Faith moves before the proof appears. Faith acts as though the promise has already been fulfilled. And it is that faith that shifts the course of destiny, that accelerates divine timing, that unlocks the doors you thought would never open. But there is a process to this journey. You cannot skip the steps. You cannot rush what is meant to unfold in its appointed time. A foundation must be built before the structure can rise. And that is what has been happening in your life. You have been in the preparation phase, the strengthening, the refining, the molding into the person you need to become. In order to receive what is already waiting for you, if you were given everything you desired too soon, you would not be able to sustain it if the doors opened before you were ready. You would not be able to walk through them with the wisdom and strength required. Remain there. What you call waiting is not delayed. It is divine alignment. It is the perfect orchestration of events so that when your moment arrives, you are prepared to step into it fully. There are moments when you will feel tested, moments when you will be stretched beyond what you thought you could endure. And in those moments, it may seem as if nothing is working, as if the promise has been forgotten, as if the plan has been abandoned. But the truth is, those are the moments when the most work is being done. The most profound transformations happen in the unseen, beneath the surface, in the silent spaces where faith is tested and strengthened. You may feel like you are walking through fire, but that fire is not meant to destroy you. It is meant to refine you, to burn away everything that is not in alignment with where you are going. It is meant to prepare you for the magnitude of what is ahead. Do not resist the process. Do not shrink in fear. Walk through it with the knowing that you are being made into something greater than you can yet comprehend. The breaking, the stretching, the discomfort. It is all part of the journey. It is all leading to the moment when everything changes, because that moment is coming. The shift is not a question of if, but when, and when it arrives, you will understand why you had to go through everything you did. You will see how the pieces fit together, how the delays were not denials, how the rejections were actually redirections. But even now, before that moment arrives, you have a choice. You can choose to walk in doubt, to question the plan, to live in fear, or you can choose to trust fully, to step into the certainty that what has been promised is already yours in that choice. That decision is what determines how quickly the doors will open, how swiftly the blessings will unfold. The universe does not operate on hesitation. It does not respond to doubt. It moves in accordance with faith, with certainty, with the unwavering belief that what is meant for you is already on its way. Stop waiting for perfect conditions. Stop waiting for signs. Stop waiting for something outside of you to give you permission to move forward. Everything you need has already been placed within you. The path is already set. The timing is already ordained. All you must do is step forward. Even if you do not see the whole road ahead, even if the way is unclear, move anyway. The doors will open as you walk. The clarity will come as you trust. The breakthroughs will manifest as you align yourself fully with the knowing that you are exactly where you need to be, that nothing is out of place, that everything is happening exactly as it should. This is your time. This is your moment. What is coming is far greater than you have imagined. And when it arrives, you will look back and realize that it was never a matter of chance, but a matter of divine intention. It was always meant to be. And now the only thing that remains is for you to step into it. And so here you stand on the threshold of something greater than you have ever known. The waiting, the refining, the stretching, it has all led to this moment. You are not lost. You are not behind. You are exactly where you need to be. And everything you have walked through has been preparing you for what is coming. No more hesitation, no more questioning, no more waiting for signs. The signs have always been there, written in the quiet urgings of your soul, in the unshakable knowing that there is more for you, and now the time has come to step fully into that, knowing to walk forward with unwavering faith, to trust that what is meant for you cannot be taken from you. You were never waiting on God. God was waiting on you, waiting for you to believe, to rise, to claim the life that has always been yours. The shift is already in motion. The doors are already opening. What is coming will not just meet your expectations. It will exceed them in ways you never imagined. Step forward, trust, and watch as the impossible becomes your reality.
And this is one of the most difficult things for people to grasp and understand. That if you become what you think about all day long, and what you think about all day long is what you don't want, or what you don't like, you will act upon what you don't want because you can only act upon your thoughts. And what you don't want will continue to show up and manifest into your life. You cannot manifest thin from I hate being fat. Because if you hate being fat, your attention, your energy is on hating being fat. And you will then create more hating being fat into your life. You cannot manifest abundance from I despise being poor. Because the despising of being poor is your thought, you will attract more despising of being poor into your life. You'll have to act upon what you think about. And it gets worse. You cannot attract or manifest into your life what you want if your thoughts are on what always has been. And that's the wake. And that's your personal history. If you don't have a story, you don't have to live up to it. And if your thoughts are on what always has been, and you use this as a reason why you can't attract into your life what you want, because after all, it's always been this way, then even if you are really angry at the way it's always been, and your thoughts are on how angry you are at the way it always has been, what it always has been will continue to show up in your life because you become what you think about all day long. So you don't look and put your attention on what always has been, you give that up. And again, you shift not just to what you want, because if your thoughts stay on just on what you want, then you'll create and manifest more of wanting. What you want to do is put your attention on what you intend to create with passion, as long as it's motivated out of love and kindness and all of the things that will produce strength, which is between 20,000 and 100,000 cycles per second. Love, kindness, forgiveness, the things I'm going to summarize with. When you're really ready and you say, God, I am willing to turn it over to you. I'm willing to accept any guidance, any help that you are willing to send me, I now start becoming open to the teachers who are going to show up in my life. And they'll show up in the form of a little child. I had a woman tell me one day that her 10-year-old daughter came home with a girlfriend. And the little girlfriend said to her daughter, "I didn't know your mommy was fat." And she said, "That was my teacher. I'd been thinking about how tired I was of being overweight for all of these years and carrying around this extra, and all of the, I'd just been tired of the baggage. And this little child who just came into my house for the first time said it. She said, I went out, I lost the weight, I knew what I had to do. And it was gone." She said, "I've never put it back on since." Is rewrite your agreement with reality. Like you rewrite it. Because you've been programmed yourself to have an agreement that says who you are is what your tribe has dictated or what other people have told you or your limitations or what can and can't be done. I go out in the backyard and tell my kids I'm going to make it rain. This whole idea of just getting quiet, going to that place within yourself and rewriting it. I have a wonderful little summary of how we change our life. Some of you have heard this, I'm sure. It's called, it's written by Portia Nelson. And she wrote a book about this, about the sidewalk, the hole in the sidewalk. And she said she was given a 5x7 card at the end of a seminar, such as this. And she was asked to write down the 5 chapters of her life on a 5x7 card so she don't get too wordy, all right? And she said, here are the 5 chapters of my life. And this is really a wonderful summary of it. She said, I walk down the street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I fall in. I am lost. I am helpless. It isn't my fault. And it takes me forever to find a way out. Chapter 2 of my life. I walk down the same street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I pretend I don't see it. I fall in again. I can't believe I'm in the same place. But it isn't my fault. And it still takes me a long time to get out. Chapter 3. I walk down the same street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I see it there. I still fall in. It's a habit. My eyes are open. I know where I am. It is my fault. And I get out immediately. Chapter 4 of my life. I walk down the same street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I walk around it. Chapter 5. I walk down another street. Isn't that great? And I think walking down another street is what we're talking about, not just individually, but collectively and as a people.
Let's go for a moment to our dream. And just assume that we're going to have a dream. We're in bed. And let me ask you this question. This is a question I like to ask for you to just contemplate, one of those sort of cones. When you go to sleep at night and enter your dream state, what happens to the bed? Just think about that. What happens to the bed? Now you're in your dream. Okay? So just propel yourself into a dream state. And in your dream, you notice, let's say you're over here and you're in a room. And in this room, you look across the room and you notice that there's a podium in the room. And it has some objects on it. Now you're in your dream. So in the state of dream consciousness, you say to yourself, I would like to examine that podium more closely. How do you do it in your dream? How do you examine it more closely in your dream state? Do you get out of bed? Is there a bed? Now we're talking about 1/3 of your life here, folks, okay? 1/3 of your life. As Lao Tzu said, I went to sleep and dreamt that I was a butterfly. Then I woke up, and now I don't know. Am I a man who dreamt he was a butterfly, or am I a butterfly who's dreaming that he's a man? So in your dream state, do you get up out of bed, keep it right over there, say, excuse me, honey, wait, get out, and walk over and say, oh, here, oh, there's a galley of a new book, and there's a pen here, and there's a glass of water, I think I'll have a drink of that. There's a microphone stand, there's things. Do you do that? No, you don't do that. Because you enter your dream without any doubt. So what you do in your dream state is, are you ready? Shoo! Stay alert. And you bring it to you, don't you? In your dream state. Why? Because you have the power of your intention, can have an idea, and whatever you need for the fulfillment of your dream, you bring to you. Here it is. Here it is. Whatever you need. So you're 20 years old in your dream, and you need a jerk to be married to for the next 20 years. There he is. Isn't that great? You need a Maserati? There it is. Whatever you need for the dream, you bring to it. Then you leave the dream and you come into waking consciousness, and now you look back on the dream, and you now have a whole new set of things that you've introduced. And that set of things is called doubt. And the second key to higher awareness, which I'll get to shortly, is called banishing the doubt, but it's connected here. As you enter your dream state, you enter without any doubt about your capacity to do anything. So you can fly, you can jump over trees, you can be young again, you can transcend death, you can stay underwater, you can communicate telepathically with anyone that you want to, right? You have all of these incredible powers. And if someone has died and you want them back, you bring them back. If you need to be 12 again, and then you come into this state and you say, I can't do any of those things because you're stuck in paradigms. And the paradigm says, you cannot change your shape, you can't shape shift. If you're a certain age, you're a certain age. You can't move yourself into, you can't be in more than one place at the same time, which you can do in your dream, easily. You can't do those things. And one of the things I talk about in Your Sacred Self is like learning to become a waking dreamer, to understand that you don't have to go to sleep in order to dream. So now you wake up, and what I'm suggesting to you is that this is also a dream, only it's a 100-year dream. And in this 100-year dream, everything that you can do in your 8-hour dream, you can do in this 100-year dream. Everything. If you know better than to doubt it. And if you get rid of the paradigms that muck up your life. You have the capacity. But the minute that you introduce doubt into it, like that poem that I started out, Real Magic, which is really my effort to write about how to manifest miracles in your life. From Samuel Taylor Coleridge, he said, what if you slept? And what if in your sleep you dreamed? And what if in your dream you went to heaven and there picked a strange and wonderful flower? And what if when you awoke, you held that flower in your hand? Ah, what then? Is it possible to bring something from a dream state into a waking state? Or is that part of a paradigm? And the tiniest smidgen of doubt that enters your consciousness is what you will act upon. 7 key little words from Proverbs. As you think, so shall you be. If you think that it's not possible, what you think about is what expands. Or as Emerson said, the ancestor to every action is a thought. And the minute you have a doubtful thought in your consciousness, you will act upon that and manifest the fruit of that doubt. And not be able to see it. You will not see it.
What being open to everything means. Everything means just what it says. No exceptions. When someone suggests something to you that conflicts with your conditioning, rather than responding with, that's ridiculous, we all know that's impossible, say instead, I've never considered that before. I'll think about it. Open yourself up to the spiritual ideas of all people and listen with an open mind to crazy schemes and ideas that at first seem to be outrageous. If someone suggests that crystals can cure hemorrhoids, that natural herbs can lower cholesterol, that people will eventually be able to breathe underwater, or that levitation is possible, listen and be curious. Let go of your attachments to what you've been trained to believe. Open your mind to all possibilities, because whether you believe something is possible or impossible, either way, you'll be right. How can that be true? Your agreement with reality and all that's possible determines what you'll become. If you're convinced that you can't become wealthy and famous or artistic or a professional athlete, a great singer, or whatever, you will act upon that inner conviction that prevents you from manifesting what you'd really like. All that you'll get from your effort is being right. When you need to be right, you're attached to your conditioned reflex of the way things are and always have been, and you assume they always will be. Releasing your attachments. Your attachments are the source of all your problems. The need to be right, to possess someone or something, to win at all costs, to be viewed by others as superior. These are all attachments. The open mind resists these attachments and consequently experiences inner peace and success. To release attachments, you have to make a shift in how you view yourself. If your primary identification is with your body and your possessions, your ego is the dominant force in your life. If you can tame your ego sufficiently, you'll call upon your spirit to be the guiding force in your life. As a spiritual being, you can observe your body and be a compassionate witness to your existence. Your spiritual aspect sees the folly of attachments because your spiritual self is an infinite soul. Nothing can make you happy or successful. These are inner constructs that you bring to your world rather than what you receive from it. If you think peaceful thoughts, you'll feel peaceful emotions, and that's what you'll bring to every life situation. If you're attached to being right or absolutely need something in order to be at peace or to be successful, you'll live a life of striving, yet never arriving. It's possible to have a burning desire, yet not have attachments. You can have an inner vision of what you intend to manifest and still detach yourself from the outcome. How? Consider this observation in A Course in Miracles. Infinite patience produces immediate results. It sounds like a paradox, doesn't it? Infinite patience implies an absolute certainty that what you'd like to manifest will indeed show up in a perfect order and exactly on time. The immediate result you receive from this inner knowing is a sense of peace. When you detach from the outcome, you're at peace, and you'll ultimately see the fruits of your convictions. Suppose you had a choice between two magic wands. With wand A, you can have any physical thing you desire by simply waving it. With wand B, you can have a sense of peace for the rest of your life, regardless of what circumstances arise. Which one would you pick? A guarantee of stuff or inner peace for the remainder of your life? If you opt for peace, then you already have wand B. Simply have a mind that is open to everything but attached to nothing. Let it all come and go as it will. Enjoy it all, but never make your happiness or success dependent on an attachment to anything, any place, and particularly any person. In all of your relationships, if you can love someone enough to allow them to be exactly what they choose to be, without any expectations or attachments from you, you'll know true peace in your lifetime. True love means you love a person for what they are, not for what you think they should be. This is an open mind and an absence of attachment. In essence, I'm urging you to stop taking your life so personally. You can end any and all suffering by reminding yourself that nothing in the universe is personal. Of course, you've been taught to take life very personally, but this is an illusion. Tame your ego and absolutely free yourself from ever taking anything personally. Keep these thoughts in mind, particularly when you feel lost or unsure of your purpose. My purpose is about giving. I'll direct my thoughts off of me and spend the next few hours looking for a way to be of service to anyone or any creature on our endangered planet. This will bring you back to a realization that it doesn't matter what you do as long as you're able to give. In order to fully give and be of service and ultimately feel purposeful, you must be able to say yes when you ask yourself, do I really possess what it is that I wish to give away? As I readied myself to make the shift from an exclusively spiritual being into the world of particles in 1939, I had the following conversation with the creative intelligence I'll call God. God, what would you like to accomplish on this journey you're about to undertake? Me, I'd like to teach self-reliance, compassion, and forgiveness. God, are you certain that this is what you wish to dedicate this entire lifetime to? Me, yes, I can see the need even more clearly now. God, well then I think we'd better put your little ass into a series of foster homes and have you stay there for a decade or so, where you'll learn to experience relying upon yourself, and we'll remove your parents so that you won't be dissuaded from your mission. Me, I'll accept that, but what about my parents? Who will best facilitate my life's purpose? God, you can select Melvin Lyle Dyer as your father, a prisoner, an alcoholic, and a thief. He'll abandon you as a baby and never show up in your life. You'll first practice hating him and seeking revenge, but you'll ultimately forgive him long after he's left his body. This act of forgiveness will be the single most important event of your life. It will put you on the path that you're signing up for. Me. And my mother? What about her? Take Hazel Dyer, Lyle's wife. Her compassion for all of her children will give you an example to follow. She'll steadfastly work herself to the bone to reunite you and your brothers after 10 years or so of her own suffering. Me. Isn't it an awful, cruel fate for my father? God. Not at all. He signed up for this 25 years ago. He dedicated this entire lifetime to teach one of his children the lesson of forgiveness. A noble gesture, wouldn't you say? And your mother is here to show you how true compassion shows up every day. Now get down there and participate in becoming a particle. In the introduction of my book, You'll See It When You Believe It, I wrote about finding my father and visiting his grave in the early 1970s. The facts that led me there defy the laws of logic, and visiting it was the final hurdle I needed to overcome before initiating my writing and speaking career, or the mission I'd signed up for back in 1939. I've also visited the Holocaust sites of Europe and read and reread the history of events that contributed to the hatred that created war. In the 1960s, I worked to bring peace to the events surrounding the horrible Vietnam War, and today my attention is often focused on finding an alternative to the violence and hatred in Africa, the Middle East, and particularly Iraq. My calling is deep within me and has a hold on me. I don't know what I'm going to do next, but I'm probably being guided by what Spirit and I decided at the inception of this journey. One thing I know for certain is that I'm inspired. I've described my personal insight about my calling to encourage all of you to examine your own life, including all of its travails and success, as a necessary experience in order to fulfill your mission. Looking at life from this perspective nurtures the deep yearning within that will beckon you back to Spirit. As you can see from my own example, it can be a great help to look at your entire life as the unfolding of a plan that you participated in before you even arrived here. By doing so, you shift from blaming others and circumstances to being responsible and feeling your purpose. Whatever shows up in your life then becomes a part of the perfection of this plan. When everything you experience seems unwelcome, for instance, you can search for what you gain from the apparent obstacles. If we can remember that we're responsible for what we're attracting, we can then eliminate the negative energy we wallow in. If what we desire is to be inspired and feel joy, but the opposite keeps showing up, rather than cursing fate, we can view ourselves as simply being out of creative vibrational alignment. We can shift our vibrations in the form of thoughts to those that are more harmonious with our desires, and we can then begin to take the small steps necessary for our inspiration to be sensed. Source energy will cooperate with us when we seek it energetically. Moreover, we can begin to reassess our lives for misaligned attractions and imagined bad luck. When we feel peaceful within ourselves, we begin to attract more of the peace we desire because we're functioning from a spiritual place of peace. When we engage Spirit, we regain the power of our ultimate source. Regardless of what goes on in the world of form, inside of ourselves, we'd still be living in Spirit. For example, a beggar on a street corner may have agreed to come into this world of boundaries to teach and generate the awareness that leads to more compassion in this world, or even to teach a single person, perhaps you, to become more compassionate. In an infinite universe, there's no time restrictions on how many lifetimes we get. With an infinity before us, spending one lifetime teaching compassion doesn't seem so outrageous. When we feel peaceful within, we begin to attract more of the peace we desire because we're functioning from a spiritual place of peace. When we engage Spirit, we regain the power of our ultimate source. An inspirational attitude is less judgmental and more appreciative, with a keen eye for how God or source energy manifests. And remember, source can't be removed from what it creates. Everyone and everything contains God or the source, so be on the lookout for the God force in every living thing. Explore how this force has delivered to us many blessings in disguise. We came from a world of pure spirit and allowed that source to take over without any interference or questioning on our part. As long as we were in spirit, our source materialized in a multitude of ways to handle everything for us. Then, almost immediately after our birth into form, we initiated a program to deny spirit and emphasize the ego. But now, as you listen to these words, you're on the threshold of dropping ego identity and returning to a life where inspiration awaits you. There's nothing natural about living a life filled with stress and anxiety, having feelings of despair and depression, and needing pills to tranquilize yourself. Agitated thoughts that produce high blood pressure, a nervous stomach, persistent feelings of discomfort, an inability to relax or sleep, and frequent displays of displeasure and outrage are violating your natural state. Believe it or not, you have the power to create the naturally stress-free and tranquil life you desire. You can utilize this power to attract frustration or joy, anxiety or peace. When you're in harmony with the 7 faces of intention, you can access and pull from the source of all in order to fulfill your intention of being stress-free and tranquil. So if it's natural to have feelings of well-being, why is it that we seem to experience so much unwellness and tension? The answer to this question provides you with the key that leads to the peaceful life you desire. Stress is a desire of the ego. We speak of stress as if it were present in the world as something that attacks us. We say things like, I'm having an anxiety attack, as if anxiety is a combatant. But the stress in your body is rarely the result of external forces or entities attacking you. It's the result of the weakened connecting link to intention caused by your belief that ego is who you are. You are peace and joy, but you've allowed your ego to dominate your life. The following lighthearted way to stop taking yourself so seriously is from a book by Rosamund and Benjamin Zander. He's the conductor of the Boston Philharmonic Orchestra, titled The Art of Possibility. It illustrates in a delightful way how we allow ego to create many of the problems we encounter that we label stress and anxiety. It's called Rule Number 6. I'll share it with you. 2 prime ministers are sitting in a room discussing affairs of state. Suddenly a man bursts in, apoplectic with fury, shouting and stamping and banging his fist on the desk. The resident prime minister admonishes him. Peter, he says, kindly remember Rule Number 6. Whereupon Peter is instantly restored to complete calm, apologizes and withdraws. The politicians return to their conversation only to be interrupted yet again 20 minutes later by an hysterical woman gesticulating wildly, her hair flying. Again, the intruder is greeted with the words, Marie, please remember Rule Number 6. Complete calm descends once more, and she, too, withdraws with a bow and an apology. When the scene is repeated for a 3rd time, the visiting prime minister addresses his colleague. My dear friend, he says, I've seen many things in my life, but never anything as remarkable as this. Would you be willing to share with me the secret of Rule Number 6? Very simply, replies the resident prime minister. Rule Number 6 is, don't take yourself so damn seriously. Ah, says his visitor, that's a fine rule. After a moment of pondering, he inquires, and what, may I ask, are the other rules? Oh, there aren't any. As you encounter stress, pressure, or anxiety in your life, remember Rule Number 6. At the moment you realize you're thinking stressful thoughts. By noticing and discontinuing the inner dialogue that causes stress, you may be able to prevent its physical symptoms. What are the inner thoughts that produce stress? I'm more important than those around me. My expectations aren't being met. I shouldn't have to wait. I'm too important. I'm the customer here, and I demand attention. No one else has these pressures. All of these above, along with a potentially endless inventory of Rule Number 6 thoughts, are from the ego's bag of tricks. You aren't your work, your accomplishments, your possessions, your home, your family, your anything. You're an aspect of the power of intention, dressed in a physical human body, intended to experience and enjoy life on earth. This is the intention that you want to bring to the presence of stress. You must become conscious of the need to activate thought responses that match your intention. These new responses will become habitual and replace your old habit of responding in stress-producing ways. When you examine segments of stress-producing incidents, you always have a choice. Do I stay with thoughts that produce stress within me, or do I work to activate thoughts that make stress impossible? Here's another easy tool that will help you to replace the habit of choosing anxiety and stress. I call them 5 magic words. Here they are. I want to feel good. I want to feel good. Your intention here is to be tranquil and stress-free. When you feel good, you're connected to your intentions, regardless of what goes on around you or what others expect you to feel. Many events will transpire in which your conditioned response is to feel bad. Be aware of these outer incidents and say the 5 magic words. I want to feel good. In that precise moment, ask yourself if feeling bad is going to make the situation any better. You'll discover that the only thing that feeling bad accomplishes in response to outer situations is to plummet you into anxiety, despair, depression, and of course, stress. Instead, ask yourself in that moment what thought you can have that will make you feel good. When you discover that it's responding with kindness and love to the bad feeling, which is quite different from wallowing around in it, you'll begin experiencing a shift in your emotional state. Now you're in vibrational harmony with your source, since the power of intention knows only peace, kindness, and love. I assure you that your decision to feel good is a way of connecting to spirit. It isn't an indifferent response to events. By feeling good, you become an instrument of peace, and it's through this channel that you eradicate problems. By feeling bad, you stay in the energy field that creates resistance to positive change and experience a stressful, anxious state as a byproduct. The things you call problems will perpetually present themselves to you. They'll never go away. Resolve one, and another one will surface. You'll never get it done. I urge you to simply accept the fact that you'll never get it all done and begin to live more fully in the only moment that you have, which is now. The secret to removing the harmful effects of feeling stressed and under pressure is to be in the now. Announce out loud to yourself and all who are willing to listen to you, I'm an incomplete being. I'll always be incomplete because I can never get it done. Therefore, I choose to feel good while I'm in the moment, attracting into my life the manifestations of my desires. I am complete in my incompleteness. All resistance melts away when you can feel complete in your incompleteness.
What are your visions of yourself? You see, all of this business about if you get tired. How many of you get tired? You don't have to get tired. I don't get tired. When it's time to go to sleep, there's no insomnia in my life, and there doesn't have to. Insomnia is one more of those things where you start telling yourself, I'm not going to be able to sleep. Look, you've been out, you're partying, you're at a convention, you're in New Orleans, get into bed, let's say, and it's 2 o'clock, and you know you got to get up at 6. You look at your watch. All right, it's 2 o'clock. 3 o'clock? 4 o'clock. 5 o'clock? 6. 1, 2, 3. If I were to fall asleep right this second, and I'm not even close, all right, I'd only get 4 hours of sleep. Here it comes, ready? Great imagery now. Boy, am I going to be tired tomorrow. Whew! Oh, I'm going to be tired. That'll keep you awake for at least an hour, all right? Your body just kind of goes, oh my God, and you start interfering with it. Your mind starts programming you, all right? Now, an hour later, you look at your watch and say, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. 3 hours. Now you upgrade your neurotic expectations for yourself. I'm going to be a zombie tomorrow. And then when you get out of bed and the alarm goes off, if you sleep, what do? You start counting backwards now. 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock. You put your body instantly on droop. Kind of put your eyes sort of on bag. Don't expect anything out of me today. I didn't get any sleep last night or whatever. Until someone comes along halfway through the day and says, you know, we got a game tonight and we're going to go out and have a few drinks and we're going to, hey, that's great. Yeah, I think I'd like to do that. It's a choice. You ever notice how tired you get when you got something unpleasant to do? You know, you look at the lawn equipment and look at the roller and the edger. I'm going to lie down for 3 or 4 months. I'm really tired. It's a choice. If you just tell yourself, I don't need to think tired thoughts. When I tell you that the kind of visualization I'm talking about can end asthma, asthma is an easy one. Anybody who's suffered with asthma, and I've had a stepson who's had it, and he holds on to it and he believes it and he wants to hang on to it, and that's it. He's going to have asthma until he doesn't want it anymore. And I tell him that and he just gets mad because he wants to hold on to his asthma. And he gets a lot of attention for it, and he gets a lot of people to remind him that he's sickly and that he can't do this and do that. And so he gets a lot of positive sort of affirmation for his negative reaction. I have seen people eliminate a lot more than asthma. When people ask me, what kind of a therapist are you? Where do you fit in? Are you a behaviorist? Are you a rational emotive therapist? Are you Freudian psychoanalyst? I call myself a do-do therapist. And I really mean that. A do-do therapist is someone who believes in the great secrets of the universe. One of the great secrets that you'll read in Icus is that I hear and I forget. I see and I remember. I do and I understand. And not one moment before. Not one of you who knows how to swim by watching somebody else do it or listening to somebody else give you instruction. You know how to swim because you got in the water and you flop around and you fill your mouth up a few times and then eventually you do it. And you know something? What do you think is the difference in your physical skills between the moment before when you couldn't swim and the moment afterwards when you did let go and could swim for the first time? You think your physical skills are any different? They're exactly the same. We all know how to swim. Now you believe you can. And when you believe you can, you just do it. You just do it. And if you can't ride a bicycle, there's a woman who came to me and said, I can't ride a bicycle. My parents wouldn't let me. My mother would never let me get on a bicycle when I was a little kid. And I had these big white teeth and she was afraid I would break them. And I said, okay, that's great. Let's go. She said, go, where are we going? She wanted to sit in the office. I said, I've got a bicycle downstairs in the garage, and we'll just go on, and I'm going to teach you how to ride a bike. You think I'm paying these kind of prices to come here and have you teach me how to ride a bicycle? I want to know why I can't. I said, oh, well, you didn't say that. That'll take another 30 seconds. You can't because you never got on one. And as soon as you do, and are willing to fail and fall down a few times, then you'll know how to ride it. And until that, you can blame mama forever. But it isn't going to change a thing. If you want to change something in your life, if you want to quit smoking, you don't need to go to the shit clinic. You don't need to go and poke holes in your cigarettes, so you get a hernia, trying to get that nicotine down into your lungs, and a little bit less each time. And they have now a thing out called poo-poo spray. I don't know if you've seen this. But it smells like poo-poo, all right? And you spray it on your fingers so that every time you go, oh, I don't want, no, I won't be having any of those today, no. Now, you don't have to do that. What you do is, the first thing you do is you see yourself as an ex-smoker. You just see that. You visualize yourself there, and you take credit for having such a wonderful picture of yourself. You do that first. And then the second thing you do is you tell yourself how easy this is going to be. This isn't hard. There's nothing difficult about quitting smoking. You just do it. You just don't put cigarettes in your mouth one day at a time. That's what you do. And you don't tell yourself, I'm going to want them, I'm going to get fat, and all of these kind of, you don't do that. You stop the blame, and you do it. You want to lose weight. You see yourself looking the way you want to look instead of going on a diet. Everybody I know on a diet is fat. And if you change the way you see yourself, then when you've eaten enough, you stop. You just see yourself in a different way. You stop that. No, I don't want any more. You say, I think I'll exercise a little more. I'm going to go out and I'm going to do some kind of exercise. I'm going to walk. I'm going to get myself on an exercise bike. I'm going to go to a dance class. I see myself this way. Now I'm just going to act out on that instead of saying, oh, it's so hard to quit. It's just so hard to lose weight. I'm so depressed. I think I'll have some candy as soon as I get over that, And I had a person come up to me after a talk one time and said, Dr. Dyer, you mean to tell me you never get depressed, ever? I said, of course not. She says, oh, that's depressing. Oh, that depresses me even more. You see, it depends on how you see yourself.